learn in particular about one-dimensional arrays. And one-dimensional arrays you have studied already, but you have dealt with numbers mostly, right? Numeric arrays. So now we are going to deal with character arrays and strings. Okay. So today's lecture is an introduction to strings in C. So just give me a minute. I'll share my slide. So what are strings actually? Strings are a derived data type which deals with a grouping of characters. So when I talk about an array in C, a one-dimensional array in C of the data type char, okay, then um, I need to add a special character to it, okay, which is known as a null character, which makes it a string. Okay, so you already have used strings while printing messages in the printf, right? So whatever comes in a double quote, so far you know that whatever comes in a double quotes, right, inside a double quotes pair is a string. Okay, so now how do you actually declare this string? It is the how you declare a character array. Okay, so it's basically the data type, that is char, give it a variable name, and into square brackets, since it's a character, it's an array, you give the size of the array. You specify the size of the array. That means how many characters max do you expect this particular array to be. Okay, if you want to initialize in the same step, you can do that using the assignment operator. So you are initializing the string at the time of the declaration. You are making use of the assignment operator, and whatever you are putting on the right hand side will be the value which will be assigned to the string that you have written, and it will be written in double quotes. Okay, now you see that when we look at the memory map that is there in shown below, you see that that string initial value is there. Okay, and after that there is one special character which you see. Okay, this character is known as a null character. Okay, null character is a \0, okay, which signifies the termination of the string or the end of the string. Okay, so always whenever I talk of a string in C, it is a character array, or an array of characters which, or you can say a sequence of characters which is terminated by a null character. So you need to terminate that by a null character. Okay, if you're assigning it directly, so if you're assigning it here directly as some constant value, you're directly assigning while declaring. So this is declaration. Everyone knows this is declaration, data type followed by the variable name with the size of the array. This is the array declaration, right? Your what is a variable declaration? It is basically going to reserve some memory for it, right? And what is this? You are declaring, and at the same time you are initializing. Okay, so when you are doing the second thing, while declaring only you are initializing it, and that \0 you have not added here, right? You have not added here, but it is added by the C environment. You do not need to add it exclusively here, explicitly here. It is added directly when you initialize at the time of declaration. Okay. So after the null character, whatever is there, it is there. That space is there in memory. It is reserved because you have said it is 20, right? The size you have specified as 20, but it is ignored because your string is now literal. It's a constant now. It is just taking that much space. So this is how you declare it. But basically, whenever you are going to declare and use it, you're going to not initialize it. You will not usually initialize a string, but you will want to read data into a string, right? So you want to read data into some variable. That is a usual way. And then you will perform some manipulation. Okay. So for that, what you do is you make use of your printf scanf. Scanf will be for reading. If you want to print it or you have to read it via scanf, then there is a special format specifier or a special placeholder, that is a %s. The %s is used for telling the compiler that whatever is going to come next is a string. Okay. So you have used %d for integer, %f for float, right? %c for a character. But when you're talking about a string, that is an array of characters, you use %s. When you're, this is about printing. I'll come to scanf also shortly. Okay. If you want to print it, if you want to justify it in some way, you can use the formatting options of printf. So here you have %8s. Okay. So 8s is going to right justify it, and -8s is going to left justify it. So we will see how it does it. So right justified means everything will be to the right hand side, and left justified is everything is on the left hand side. Okay. Now if you're right, this is just for formatting. Basically you have done this formatting for numbers also, right? So this is formatting for strings. So if that value 8, if it is less than the actual width of the string, then it is simply that padding is ignored. But if it is within that range, then that is considered. So there is some padding which includes that width. Okay, so this has to be practiced by you. This I'm not going into detail. This you have to try the justification and all that. Main thing is the logic where we are actually manipulating the strings. Okay. Next is for scanf. For scanf, again you use %s as the placeholder. So %s is the placeholder or the format specifier. And you notice this in this program, what is done is there are two strings, two character arrays which we have declared, and two integers. Okay, it's going to read the code, department code, the course number, the days, and the time. Okay, in this format. So it's separated by spaces. You have to specify the department code, then the course number, followed by the days when this particular course will be conducted, that is Monday, Wednesday, Friday, the first letters, and the time. Okay, so this is just an example. So how are you writing the scanf for that? That is important. So for writing the scanf, whenever there is a %s, usually what do you do with the scanf? You make use of the ampersand operator. Yes or no? You make use of this operator, address of operator, whenever you write a scanf. Even if
Yes, ma'am.
%c, even if it is a %c, you make use of this, right? But you notice here that whenever there's a %s, okay, you simply specify the array name, the string name. There is no address of. There's a reason for this. Okay, the reason for this is that when I write an array name as it is, so whenever I write only department without any index, I'm not writing department of 0 or something like that, or 1, whatever. No, I have not written that. I've simply written the name of the array. The array name written as it is, it means that we are referring to the address of the base address of the array, or the first location of the array. We are referring to the address of the first location of the array. So this is equivalent to this. This and this are, these two expressions are equivalent. Okay. So actually in Scanf you are still passing the address. I told you in Scanf you always pass the address of the variable. So here also you're passing the address, but since it's an array, you pass the base address. You need to pass the base address. The compiler sees that it is a %s. That means whatever I'm going to read right now, it's going to be a sequence of characters. Okay. And automatically it's going to keep on writing the characters that are being entered by the user into the array one by one in that location. So first character will go into location 0, second character will go into 1, and so on. Okay. So remember, whenever you're using strings, okay, you need to specify in Scanf only the string name, only the array name. Even if you specify address of department of 0 instead of this expression, instead of department, if you say address of department of 0, it will still work. Either say what is there on the left hand side, and or you say what is on the right hand side. Which is easier to write? Only the array name, right? Easier to write is only the array name. But remember that this kind of a conversion takes place. This kind of a conversion takes place in the background. Okay, and this is very important for you to understand, because when you will be studying, I think you have written all array programs in the main so far. You have not written any functions. Have you passed arrays to functions yet?
No, not till now.
No, right? What we are seeing here, this is an example of passing an array to a function. Scanf is a function, right? It's a built-in function. It's not a user-defined function, but it's a function. And what you're passing as an argument, you're passing an array. So the way to pass array to any function is by writing the array name. Okay, that you will see in the subsequent lectures. Okay, so this is very important, this concept. Okay, so just keep this in mind. So when you write scanf with string, write the array name. That's it. Okay, and then it is going to print. Now, whatever example we have seen here is a very simple example of reading a string and printing it. So this null character is what is added actually at the end. So now what happens in scanf is, how it is working actually is, when does it stop reading? It's reading a character 1, 2, 3, but at which character will it stop reading? It will stop reading the moment it encounters any space. Okay, so if you press the space key, so you saw here in this example that you have to separate these with spaces. See, the example is given here, right? How do you enter? It is separated by spaces. So how you're entering here, it's separated by spaces. Okay, so whenever it encounters a space, it stops. Okay, now space is your space bar, or your new line character also is a space. The moment you enter new line character also, it will stop. But the thing is, if you want to read spaces, suppose your string is a sentence. Now it is not a word, it is not a single word, but it is a sentence. I love C programming. Okay, so it's a sentence, it has spaces. Then you need to modify the way in which you are reading it. Okay, there is the concept of what is known as a char set, which you can use, or you can use some special functions, input functions, which are present in the stdio.h library. Like you can use fgetS, or I think you must have used getchar. Have you used getchar for reading a character?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
You keep on reading the character till your space is encountered, or till your new line is encountered. and you, as you're reading the character, you put it into the string, but that will be in a loop. Then you have to write a loop, right, for that, till the new line is encountered, while your character is not equal to, while your get char does not return a new line. I think you must have written this kind of a code. Okay, so these are some special functions which you can use, and there's one more concept of a char set, which is used inside Scanf to read a string with spaces. Okay, I'm going to talk about that a little later. First of all, we'll be dealing with only words, simple words, so that we just get acquainted with simple logic, simple type of logic, where we are just dealing with the basic C manipulation problems. That's what we are going to do for today. Okay, this invalid data and all, I'm going to talk about this later, but I just want to go ahead with the programs. Okay, one thing that you should note here is, remember, when we talk about a character, single character, it is always enclosed in single quotes, not double quotes in C. Understand this difference. And if it is a string, if you're talking about a string, whatever you are declaring has to be a character array. So it has to be something like character array of 2 is equal to, why is the length 2? I cannot say,
For the null character.
very good. So I cannot say this will work. I mean, it will not throw an error, it will throw a warning, it will tell you something, that there's some problem with this expression. It is not throwing. That is a problem with C actually. C does not, I mean, it's not very strict like Java. Unlike Java is a very strict programming language. It will not allow you to make this mistake at compile time, only it will catch this. C will give you a warning at compile time for the second expression. Okay, so some strict compilers, if you are enforcing some standard, some latest standard, then it might give you the error, but C will give you a warning here for the second expression, and your program will crash when you are running it. So while execution, you will face problems. So what happens is, most of the times people tend to ignore warnings. Okay, warning hai chhod do, run to compile to ho raha hai na, because warning does not mean that it has not compiled. Error means it has not compiled. Remember this, the difference between error and warning. I think you must have attended one of those workshops conducted by ITSA or CSI. Yes?
Yes,
C
ma'am.
workshops. So there they must have talked about errors and warnings. So remember that C gives you more warnings more often than not, and that because of this problem and people tending to ignore these warnings, what happens is the program crashes during runtime when you're executing it. Okay, so you have to be careful, follow the rules. Don't be very lazy with the rules. If you follow the rules, your program will be error free and warning free, and that is what you should aim for. Okay, so remember, whenever you are having a character, a single character which should be a string, then you need to have the size as 2. Okay, now again, this is about characters versus string. One more thing to note is about character array versus string array. Now when I say that I create this what am I doing? This is one way of initializing an array. Have you used this for integer arrays? I think you must have used integer arrays, initialization. I don't know. In integer arrays, you must have used. If I want to initialize at the time of declaration, this is also one more way. Use curly brackets, and whatever are the elements, you separate by commas. Yes or no? And accordingly, the first element will go at location 0, second element will go at location 1, and so on. Okay. What is the size of this character array? How is it computed? If I am not specifying the size, right? I have not specified the size. How is it computed? Count this, right? That will be the size of the array. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
is uncounted.
5. The size of this array is 5. Now you are saying, okay, someone said null character, but I have not mentioned the null character here, right? But ma'am said that the null character is added directly when you're initializing at the time of declaration. Okay, now this seems to be confusing. Now there are two things. If I write the initialization in the first way, what was the first way? I write something like this: char s equal to, in double quotes, hello. Correct? Hello. This was the first way. If I write it in this way, then the compiler directly adds a \0. Okay. But if I write it in the second way, I am specifying each character explicitly, right? So I need to specify the null character also explicitly if I want this array S to be a string. Otherwise, this is a character array. This is not a string. Remember, string, there's a difference in a character array between character array and a string in C. Character array always ends, does not end with a \0. A string always ends with a \0. Okay, so in the first case, \0 is added, it becomes a string by default. But in the second case, it is a character array, it is not a string. If you want it to be a string, what do you need to do? That it should be one more comma at the end. Yeah, so if you want this to be a string, it will be something like the \0 has to be specified exclusively, explicitly. Okay. So this is the difference between character arrays and strings. That is how it is in C. Okay. Next, we will see some very simple problems which we will solve today. Okay. You have to write, first problem is you have to write a program to count the number, to count the length, to find the length of a string. Okay. So how do you do this? What will be the logic? I'll just switch. Okay. Just let me present again. Okay. So how do we do this? You want to first program is to find the length of a string. So it's just consider it as an array. So suppose this is your string, hello. Okay, whatever it is, it could be something like this. Use your array logic, whatever you have studied. Okay, remember it's a string. Last character is the \0. What is the array logic? I know array logic tells me that my indices start from 0 and go up till n-1, right? I need to count each letter one by one. So that tells me that I need a counter. The first thing is I need a variable which will act as a counter. So I will say that counter equal to 0 initially. Then what will I do? As I'm counting each character, as I'm going through each character, I need to increment my counter by 1. Okay. Suppose this is my string str. Okay. How do I access the first character? str of
0.
0. So in general, the ith character will be str of I. Okay. So what I can do is I can say my iterator I is 0, starting from 0. Okay. And I don't know till where I have to go to. Okay, I cannot say I is less than n, right? I cannot say for I equal to 0, I is less than n. But I know something else. I know that my strings end with a backslash 0. The strings that I have in C, they end with a backslash 0. So can I write a loop like that? That my terminating condition will be, whenever I encounter the backslash 0, I will stop. Yes? So what I will do is, suppose I'm going for a while version of a loop, I can go use for or while. I'll use for. Let me use for. So I say for I is equal to 0. Okay. Now the condition will not be I is not equal to this, right? It has to be str of I sorry, it has to be, where's that pen? Str of someone's microphone is on. Str of I not equal to backslash 0. This is 0. Okay, it is not O, it is 0. Huh? Remember that. Well, how do I make it a 0? I don't know. Something like this. Okay, anyways. So str of I is not equal to backslash 0. It's a character, so it has to be in single quotes. Char type, right? And I say I plus plus. Fine. This should be my loop. Everyone agrees this should be the loop if I'm using the for loop. Starting from I as 0, I need to keep on incrementing I, na? That's what I need to do.
Yes, ma'am.
And simply inside this loop, what do I need to do? I need to update the value of the counter. So I simply say counter okay. So what will be the length of the string?
Ma'am, the counter will be equal to I, right?
Exactly. So what do I need to do here? Nothing. Do nothing loop it is. Can I put a semicolon here?
Yes.
Okay. So let us run this program quickly and see. So this is char str of, say, let me declare it and let me read it. Okay. So I'm not writing the printf and all. I'm simply saying scanf %s and I say str, and in this I say, I write my logic. So for I is equal to, again I need to declare I is equal to 0, str of I not equal to backslash 0. Hope you can see it. I plus plus, put a semicolon.
Ma'am,
And I
int
declare,
I has to be declared. So, yes, sorry.
Okay, so I declare it. And then what do I say? Printf I print I. Let me compile this. So I say, so it's giving 5 as the answer. Okay, I can run it again. Okay, access will be denied. This is blocking. Okay. Anyways. Okay, 20 characters. So it is 11, whatever it is. Okay, so this is going to count. This is a simple program which will count the number of characters in your string. Okay, except the which character? This is giving you
Null
one character less. So it gives you the exact uh, number of characters in the string, but null character is used for recognizing it as a string, remember. So There is one, now you might wonder that I am writing this manually. Do I have some library which actually manipulates, gives me this functionality? So yes, the answer is yes. I have a library in C which gives me this functionality, that is string.h. There is a library header file, okay, in C, that is string.h, which already has some user defined functions in it. Sorry, which already has some functions in it for manipulating strings, for finding the length, for comparison, which I am going to discuss in the next lecture, don't worry. Okay, for finding, for copying strings. Yes, it is there. But how does it work is what exactly what we are doing. So length we have written. So length, there's a function called strlen, string length, okay, which gives you the number of characters without the \0, okay, in the string. So it is exactly, the logic is exactly what we wrote. The same thing you can write using while loop also. Can you convert this program using while loop? What will be the changes?
While string I not equal to 0.
You can tell me. While string, yeah, exactly. So before the loop starts, you need to specify the initialization, and then I say while str of I not equal to \0, I say I plus plus, right? That is the only change. Okay, so both ways you should know how to write it. Fine. Next question. What is the next question? I want to copy one string into another. Copy one string into another, that means I have two strings, the source string and the destination string. I want to copy the source string to the destination string. Okay, exactly. I need to make a copy, duplicate. So what should be the logic? This is also very simple.
Ma'am, I had a doubt.
Yes.
Ma'am, in the scanf, while taking the input from the user, we need to take %s. Means we don't need to use for loop for that. In array, we used to take input using
Yeah.
for loop.
Yeah. So that is what the string %s format specifier is a special format specifier which will take care of reading all characters in the string till a space is encountered. So you do not need to write a loop for that, right? For an array, for taking integers, you need to write a loop, right? Here, scanf will happen in one line only. You can do the same thing, however, by using getchar. You must have done that, I think, some example. By
Yes, ma'am.
using getchar. If you use getchar, it is going to read a single character at a time. So if I have a function which reads in a single character at a time for reading n characters, I need to call it n times, yes or no? So I need a loop. But scanf gives it to you in one line. So that is
Got it.
saving your time, na? That is saving your time. You're not writing a loop. So that loop part is taken care of by the scanf. Scanf only is running a loop till that space is encountered. That is our difference. Okay. Next is next again going back to the string copy. Yeah, string copy function. What is a string? You need to have two strings, the source, let me call it src, and the destination. Okay. How are you going to write this? Let us use the while loop now. Again, you need I, because your I is going to start. So from this source is this string, whatever, hello. This is source, and destination is empty. It will be containing some garbage values when you declare it. Okay. Initially, both the strings contain garbage values if you're not initializing it. Remember, it's a variable, same concept it is. Okay, this is destination. What do you need to do? The same logic.
While SRC equal to, we'll just write destination I is equal to SRC.
Yes. So destination I is equal to perfect. And I say I plus plus, right? But what will happen? I will be able to copy, if I run it for this, how will it work? So I is initially 0. Okay, I is 0. It will copy H. Then I will become 1, right? It will copy E. I will become 2. It will copy L. 3. It
It
will copy.
won't copy the
Hmm.
null character.
Yes. I will become 5. But at 5, it is null character. So it will come out of the loop, right? I will become 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. Index for null character is 5. But SRC of I is a null character. So it will come out of the loop. Everyone agrees with this? Because of.
Yes, ma'am.
So one more statement you need to write after this loop. And what is that statement?
Destination I is equal to null character.
Null character. This is important. This is very important.
Ma'am,
Okay.
in C, is there also a do while loop?
Yes, I did teach you. I did teach you the do while
Yes.
also.
So that would work here as well.
Yeah. So if you're writing the do while loop, what will be the change? Use another do. Only thing is the do while will not take care if the source string is empty. For that matter, this also will not take care. Huh? So how will you proceed? What if my source string is empty? So let me write the program only. Source and destination. This you are reading the source string. So let me call it source. Okay, let this be there so that all the programs are there here itself. Okay, I'll send this to you, file to you. So I have, let me read the source. Let me source. Okay. Then what do I need to do? The loop, right? While if I'm not reading the source, then what will happen? I is not equal to backslash. One more thing is the ASCII value of backslash 0 is a 0. So backslash 0, huh? This null character, the ASCII value of the null character is a 0. You remember ASCII values? ASCII value of small a is, what is the ASCII value of small a?
97.
97, very good. What is the ASCII value of 0? It is 48. Okay. So some characters you should know the ASCII value, important. I mean, like letters, numbers, you should know. Okay. ASCII value of space is, anyone?
32.
32, very good. Yeah. So ASCII value of backslash 0 is a 0. Okay. And that is why in some programs, some places, some books, you will see str of I not equal to 0. So is the expression correct? Same, right? 0 will be converted to \0. It's integer, the ASCII equivalent of \0 is a 0. Okay, let us try with this now. Let us see whether it is working. So I say a destination of I is equal to, I'm so sorry, it is source, right? Source of I. And I say I plus plus. And then I say destination of I equal to 0. Okay. And then here, suppose I am not reading this. So let us see what happens to destination.
Now we also need to specify that I equals 0, right?
Yeah. So before the loop, I is equal to 0. Or here itself, you can say I equal to 0. So destination of I is equal to 0, %s, source, comma, destination. Oh, sorry, I forgot a comma here. It's garbage. Okay. So what happens is the loop will run. This loop, how can I check whether my loop is running? How can I check whether the loop is running or no?
By
I write a
printing
printf.
I.
Yes. You can print something, na? So you let us print I. Okay. %d I, and let me use a new line every time. Okay. Now this is going to run long. Okay. Semicolon. Okay. So what happened is the loop stopped. Oh God. How did it stop? It should not have stopped. Right? The length of the array is 30, but it stopped at 3. Right? Why do you think this happened? Why do you think this happened?
So since it was not initialized, I think it's set to default that the index 4 character will be \0.
No, it is not default. It is not. The problem here is understand that this is the danger of not initializing variables. Okay. This is an example of how dangerous is not initializing your variables and using them in your program. Without initializing, you are trying to run. Na? C allows this. That is the problem with C. This is the problem with C. These problems were removed in Java. C allows you to run the loop. Okay, chalega. No initialization. Still, program is error free, right? The problem is why it stopped at 3 is because there was garbage in the array. Yes, because it was declared, but I don't know. I cannot guarantee what is there at what location. It is garbage. Now that garbage happened to be \0 at location 3. That is at location 4th location. It happened to be by default. It happened to be 4. On some other compiler, some other output you will get. I mean, I value, na, this loop will run for 5 times, 6 times. Sometimes what will happen? Loop will keep on running infinitely. Why? Because that garbage did not happen to be 0. That null character was never encountered, right? Are you getting the danger? Are you understanding
Yes,
the danger?
ma'am.
How danger? It is going to keep on running and it might crash. It will end up your RAM. So that is why this is very important that you initialize your variables. Okay. So What you need to do is, before you run this, for now, what we are going to do, we are going to read. Okay. When you're reading something, you know that your string is initialized. Okay. So when you're writing a C program, you have to be very careful for as far as initialization is concerned. So now once you do this, hopefully it should work. Right. So now it has copied. So I printed destination. I printed the source and the destination. See, so while printing also, I simply need to say %, source destination. That's it. Okay. So and now my string has copied into destination. Okay. So remember, the responsibility of initialization is left to the programmer who is programming it. So you as a programmer have to take care that you do not allow your program to crash. Your program should be written in such a way that the program does not crash. So you have to be careful about the initializations. Okay.
Ma'am,
Yes.
in this program, can we change the address of the variable destination to the same address which is pointed by SRC? So we don't have to write this whole program.
Destination is an array, right?
Yeah,
Both of these are.
What I want to do is change the destination's address from the current value to the same
No,
to
this
be
is
same
not
as
good.
SRC.
No. In C, an array is a constant pointer. See, when you understand the concept of pointers, we will come back to this. But let me tell you that in C, an array, whenever I talk about an array, it is a constant point. I cannot change the address. Okay. If I need to use a pointer, I can use a pointer to, manipulate things. But that pointer cannot be a constant pointer. An array is a constant pointer. I cannot change it that way.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay, when we study the concept of pointers, you will come to know what is a normal pointer and what is a constant pointer, and how do we make things work using pointers. Like copying of addresses can be done using pointers. Okay.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you.
Like in Java and Python, you can
Ma'am, why
directly do kind of an initialization. You can say string, like in Python, you can say SRC equal to destination. You cannot do that. Or destination equal to SRC. No, that equal to operator does not work. That is what I'm trying to say. Okay. Yes. Next question. Someone was asking something.
ma'am, why you have initialized dest I equal to 0 means after the loop?
That is what I'm saying. \0 is the same as 0. ASCII value of \0 is 0. ASCII value of \0 is 0. So if by this logic, I can say character. See, whenever I initialize a character to an integer, left hand side is a character, everyone agrees? Right hand side is
Yes,
an
ma'am.
integer in this expression, line number 14. Okay. Whenever an integer is assigned to a character type, then there is a type conversion which takes place, and the corresponding value of the character value of the integer is replaced. Okay.
Got it.
So that kind of a conversion takes place. So that is how it works with characters and integers. So we will stop here with a second example. I'll be sending these slides to you, and this example also, please practice this. Tomorrow we'll let you know whether it is my lecture or sir's lecture. If it is my lecture, I will send you a new link, because I'm not able to join the links created by sir, and sir is not able to join the links created by me. So I'll be sending you that link, a new link with my tag, if I am taking a lecture tomorrow. Otherwise, sir will take the lecture. Fine.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Yeah.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.